I forgot. Good evening, everyone. I hope you can hear me. We are very delighted to have you at this kickoff meeting for the renewal of the 2 sustainable community plans. In the following 1 to 2 hours, you will learn more about the sustainable community programs, as well as ways of participating in this renewal process. Before we start the presentation, we would like to have Steve Lefty, Director of Planning Department, to welcome all the attendees.
You're muted, Steve.
So after all these years, you should learn to unmute. Good evening, everybody. I'm Steve Lafferty. I'm the Director of Planning and really thrilled to be here tonight as the efforts to renew the sustainable community designations in Catonsville and Essex get underway. The fact that each of you from the communities has agreed to spend some time and to help us rethink really where the futures of these 2 communities should go is really important to us. I really want to thank the planning staff and particularly Gane Job and Emery Huang and Sophie Kusher for all the work they've done getting us to this point. But most importantly, it's really about you and hearing your thoughts and your ideas as we go forward. Tonight really is sort of setting the stage and helping each of you hopefully to better understand the process that will unfold as each of you work with us over the next number of months. But once again, thank you very, very much for committing your time and your energy to serving your community.
Before we dive into the presentation, we would like to remind everyone that on the lower right of the screen, you will see a chat tab. If you would like to share your comments, please click it to open the chat box. Before you put your comments in the chat box, please make sure that your message is sending to everyone, and please including your full name and your community before your specific questions or comments. So, move next slide. On this slide today, here are the topics we will cover in this presentation. They are sustainable community program overview, importance of renewal and sustainable community benefits, developing the 5-year action plans. Then when we talk about the public participation and engagement, I will turn the floor to Sophie Kuska. And after that, I will conclude the presentation with overall timeline of the renewal process. And also that tonight's presentation will be presented by Sophie Koska and me, Emery Huang. Next slide. So now we are going to talk about what is sustainable community programs. Next slide. Sustainable Communities is a state designation program designed to provide benefits to communities that practice sustainable and smart growth practice in their revitalization goals. The map on the right side of the screen, you can see that Baltimore County has 9 sustainable communities at the moment. 2 areas circled in red dotted light are the Cadentsville and Access we are going to renew this year. Next slide. Renewing the designation is a pretty lengthy process that requires a renewal application that covers qualitative and quantitative information. The application has 3 sections. The first 2 covers what has changed over the past 5 years. The third is the action plan, which covers future plans for the next 5 years. The 5-year action plan not only provides opportunity for public participation, but also helps prioritize goals and seek strategies to achieve them. Therefore, maintaining this designation allows government and eligible organizations such as 501c3 within those communities to have access to various state grants and loan programs, which are shown on the screen to the right. For example, community legacy programs provides fundings for essential projects aimed at strengthening communities through activities such as business retention and attractions, encouraging home ownership and commercial revitalization. Some example of eligible projects, including mixed-use development, consists of residential, commercial, and/or open space, streetscape improvements, and facade improvement programs. Next slide. Here is what the current boundary of sustainable community in Cadenceville is. The locations within the boundary are what is eligible to receive those state funding listed in the previous slide. All the answers to the questions and the ideas for the action plan shall be focused on the areas they are within the boundaries and the extended area. This year, there's a request to extending the boundary in Cadenceville to cover the areas south of the Route 40 and east of 695. The areas colored in yellow on the screen. Those areas can be included in our work group section conversation later this month. Next slide. Similarly, this slide showing the current boundary of the sustainable community in Essex. Next slide. At this moment, we will take a pause and conduct a poll to understand where do you live and or work. This will allow us to understand where our attendee come from, and so we will take 1 minute. Okay, let's take a look result of the poll. So there's roughly 60% of attendee from Cadenceville and 25 from Essex. That's good to know. Next slide, please. As we mentioned earlier, the Sustainable Communities Renewal application include 3 parts. The first 2 parts are about what has been done in the past, and the third part is about what we'd like to achieve in the next 5 years. Specifically, the action plan is about a strategic set of revitalization initiatives and projects that local partners believe will increase the economical vitality and the livability of their community, increase prosperity for local stakeholders, and improve health of the surrounding environment. Next slides. So on the screen, you can see there's 6 topics that we will be discussing throughout the renewal process. They are environment, economy, transportation, housing, and quality of life, land use, and local plannings. So to develop a 5-year action plans for each topic, we will pinpoint essential strengths and weaknesses of your community. And then based on those strengths and weaknesses, we will formulate specific outcomes that address the most pressing issues or greatest potentials in your communities. And after that, we will define the outcomes. We will need to list detailed strategy that will serve as the means to achieve these goals. And finally, we will need to list potential partners. They can support the successful implementation of these strategies through different type of resources For example, DHCD's Community Legacy Program, as we mentioned earlier. Next slide. The other important part of the sustainable community renewal process is to form a work group. They facilitate collaboration among government agencies and private stakeholders. So here on the screen, you can see that in addition to state and local agencies, and then we also see the private stakeholder, including community association, community development organizations, and employees or business representatives. Next slide. So here, the following 3 slides, we will list some of the agencies. So here we have including various Baltimore County agency and also state agency. And so they will be supporting the sustainable renewal, and representative of this government and agency will attend a work group meeting to discuss topics related to their work. For example, economic and workforce development will be in the meeting related to economies. Next slide. And on this screen here is the current list of the work group for Cadence fields. However, if you are interested in serving on the work group, please also feel free to contact us. The next slide. And here is the current the work group for access. That you can see the previous slide and these slides, we have different kinds of community association that devote their time and efforts. And if you are interested, you can always contact us. Then we will be able to put you on the work group. Next slide. So now I'm going to turn the presentation to Sophie. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. The next section we'll be going through is about different ways that the public and community members can get involved in the process. There are 4 ways you can participate in the process to provide your suggestions and comments. The first way is to take our kickoff survey. The second is to attend all 3 work group meetings or one of the 3 for each community. The third way is to take each set of this topic area surveys that will be posted after each focus group meeting. And the fourth way is to email us. And I'll go through each of these in a little bit more detail on the following slides. The kickoff survey is the first way to get involved, and that is comprised of 2 parts. One is the survey taker background, and the second is the sustainable community plan elements. There is a survey for each community, so please take the survey that corresponds with your community. And the survey is available in both English and Spanish. There are several ways to access the survey. The first is to please use your smartphone camera to scan a QR code on the screen, or you can go to our Sustainable Communities Renewal Hub, and the link for that will be located at the end of this presentation. When you're on the hub, at the top of the screen, there will be a tab for each community. So be sure to click on your community to fill out the correct survey. And I'll give a couple seconds in case anybody wants to scan the screen. And we can always go back to this slide if needed. Okay. So the survey will also be available in physical copies at the library and senior center of both Essex and Catonsville. These surveys will be there between tomorrow, October 12th, and then will be collected on Monday, October 24th. And again, those are in English and Spanish as well. And the QR code will be available there as well in case you happen to be in the area and want to take it virtually. The second way to get involved is to attend the focus group meetings for your community. Each community will have 3 focus group meetings that the public can attend to view and participate via the chat box. Each community's meeting dates are listed on the slide here and are posted on the Sustainable Communities Hub as well. As you can see, Catonsville's group meetings will be October 24th, November 3rd, and November 10th. Essex's group meetings will be October 25th, November 1st, and November 15th. These meetings will be held virtually on WebEx and held in the evenings between 6 and 7:30 p.m. Again, the meeting links have been posted on our Sustainable Communities Renewal Hub, and please mark those dates on your calendar if you plan to attend. Each of these meetings for each of community will focus on 2 different topics as they relate to each community's sustainable community area. The first meeting for each community will discuss environment and transportation. The second meeting will discuss housing and local planning. And the third and final meeting will discuss economy and quality of life. The third way to get involved is to participate in each topic area survey. Each topic area survey will go live about 1 week after each focus group meeting and be open for 2 weeks. There will be 3 sets of surveys total. The first set will be based on focus group meetings held about the environment and transportation. The second will be based on focus group meetings about housing and local planning. And the third and final set will be based around the focus group meetings held about economy and quality of life. These surveys will each be open for 2 weeks and will be located online on the SC Hub or in paper format at the same libraries and senior centers in Cadenceville and Essex. Again, in English and Spanish. The fourth and final way to get involved is to provide any additional input by email. To get in touch about Cadenceville, you'll be emailing me at suscomcadensville@baltimorecounty.md.gov. And to get in touch about Essex, you will be emailing Emery at suscomessex@baltimorecounty.md.gov. Before we move on to our final section, let's take another pause to do a second poll. We'd like to know which topics of the work group meetings you're most interested. So when the poll pops up, please check which one you are interested in most or multiple. I think it says voting is closed. Miles. There we go. Okay. So you should be able to take it now. Give it a few more seconds. All right. All right, so it looks like economy and quality of life is the most popular. Perfect. So we can move on. And we're going to go back to Emery, and Emery's going to talk about the overall project timeline that we have for the project.
So now, next slide. So on this slide, that you can see the chart. We have 3 parts: engagement, development, and final products. So today, on the first box, the column of engagement is kickoff. It's October 11th. And just as Sophie mentioned earlier, that followed by that, we have 3 work groups for each community to discuss 6 topics. And each work group, we will focus on 2 topics. For example, the first one will be environment and transportation. And the second one will be housing and land use and local planning. And the third one will be economy and quality of life. And while we are conducting the work group meetings, we also doing the survey, as Sophie mentioned earlier. Not in addition to the kickoff meeting survey that we will start after the kickoff meeting, and followed by that, we have 3 sets of surveys. So we are going to collect those surveys to make sure that we will reach out to broad of the public. And after that, December and January, we was doing the review, analyze the information we gather, and draft the draft plans, which will be January and February. And then after that, the first week of March, we will send the draft plan to the work group of each community to review, to comment. And after that, the second and third week, we will post on the hub for the public to comment and receive suggestions. And after that, we will do another revision. And then after that, we move to the final product day. Before we submit to the stage day, we will have the internal review in the office. So this is pretty much the overall timeline for this two sustainable community plans. The next one. So if you haven't already logged into our sustainable community hubs, we will urge you to log in. And then when you log to the main page there, you will see there's a two tab on the top is a Cadence view and access. And once you click one of the community, make sure that you click join. So that way you will stay informed and getting notification about upcoming meetings and also track the progress. And then next slide. And again, so here on the screen, you have the QR code, which you can use your smartphone and to get access to the Sustainable Community Renewal Hub. And also there's a tool email, which will you can use to send your comments or reach out to us. Either if you are from the Cadence sphere, you can use the email address on the top. And if you are Access, you can use the second one. And then we also have the address for the link for the Sustainable Community Hubs. And again, we would like to thank you to all the representatives of the state and county agency for their attendance of this tonight's meeting and their support throughout this renewal process. Steve, would you like to say something to the public as the closing remarks?
Well, I'm sure there may be some questions that people have, but I guess I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the other agencies who are participating, not only tonight, but will be participating throughout the process. And we're very fortunate to have great colleagues throughout the county government. And we realize with these six topic areas, that the expertise that agency representatives can bring to the table is going to be invaluable to the residents and those who are participating. So I just want to thank them again for being on the call tonight in this meeting, and also for their commitment to working with us going ahead. And I guess as a last comment for me, at least, is that while this is introductory to the process, what's really important is when we get down to the subject conversations, and encourage everybody to be as engaged as they can and solicit from your friends and neighbors and the groups with which you work, because this is only successful if it really brings in a lot of community input. So once again, thanks to all of you who are on the call tonight.
Thank you, Steve. Just like Steve said, we thank you everyone support attendance day throughout the process. And if you would like to share the survey information to your friends or community members, please do so. So that way we will be able to reach out to more community members and get their input, because this is very important as we are developing the 5 years action plan for your communities. Thank you so much for your attendance again. We appreciate your time. So we will conclude tonight's meetings, and more discussion will be taking place in each work group. So please make sure that they mark the 3 work group days on your calendar for each communities. Thank you so much.
Anyway, I know people are leaving, but do they have any questions? I guess they can always send it. I didn't see any questions on the chat box. They can always send it by email. Good job. Thank you.